Hey y'all, it's Alec with Sharing the Journey, and we've got a treat for you today. As you know, my wife Cindy and I travel the country work camping our way across America. We're in Rockport, Texas, and we have hired Kleen Tank to come out and to clean our black and our gray tank, and they're also going to do a treatment or a cleaning on our hot water heater. Everett's here. He is the local Kleen Tank guy. Not only does he do, I believe, from Rockport to Corpus Christi here in Texas in the winter, but he does central Colorado all the way up into Montana during the summer. So join us as we see the process and how much sludge comes out of my camper. On a side note, last night I dumped both the gray tank and the black tank, and I flushed them out until the water ran clear. Let's see if Everett's able to find any debris that I left behind. Here is Everett's truck with his phone number and information on it. And a quick correction, I was mistaken when I said Montana. He does Corpus to Rockport area here in southern Texas, and he does central Colorado. Jot that number down. After you see what he does, you're gonna need it. So everybody meet Everett. He is a co-op. I'll get him to correct me with Kleen Tank. There's, I think my research, and Everett will tell us better, there's like 49 co-opers across the country. But I'm gonna let him tell you a little bit about his background and exactly where and when his territories are active.
Hi everybody. So I am Kleen Tank of Central Colorado. I cover most of eastern and southern Colorado, but we go pretty much anywhere. Kleen Tank itself is a co-op of dealers. We range, all the dealers across the United States. We have 47 of us, 49 of us, and we cover every state. Some of us in the winter regions, we go from, I'll be in Colorado in the winter, I come down here and work in Corpus Christi to Rockport, Texas, and we cover that area between November and April, and then we switch back up to Colorado between May through October, when the camping season usually shuts down. But yeah, we're across the United States. You can find us on KleenTank.com. We're happy to come out, give you a quote, take a look at things, get things cleaned up for you, and get you back on the road with some clean factory new tanks.
All right, well, I think, Everett, that I did a great job cleaning my tank last night. You're gonna show me if I did or didn't, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get in there, we're gonna take a look. We'll start in there. We use a hydrojetter at 1500 psi. We go in there and we can clean everything out of your tanks and restore them to a factory new. Oftentimes tanks, we use our tanks rinsers and we get clear water out, and we think we're doing a really good job. You'd be amazed how much stuff is still left in your tank, even after you've rinsed and you've done it 5-10 times. There's still stuff in there. That's what we're here for. We're gonna get those hard stuck in corners, those ledges, and everything that's in there cleaned up and pulled out.
All right, so if y'all watch to the end, you'll be able to see how much sludge I missed. If you don't like gross dark water, I'm sure you're gonna want to turn off now. Quick reminder, we are in South Texas and we're by the coast and it's windy, so you're gonna hear some wind noise, but it's worth listening to the wind noise to learn what we're about to learn. So I was talking to Everett while he was setting up, and he goes, "Oh, are you a Tiffin Allegro Club member?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "Well, today's your lucky day, because they're a preferred provider of Tiffin, and if you're an Allegro Club member, you get a discount, I believe." All right, so we're gonna empty out the stuff that Cindy and I deposited last night, but I always thought you pulled the black tank first, but Everett's gonna tell us the real way to do it.
So one of the recommendations that we start off with is when you go to empty your tanks, these hoses, they have, every type of nook and cranny that you could possibly have, for stuff to hide. Well, if you just start with your black tank and just put it in there, those particles like to stick to the inside of this thing. So what we recommend is that you pull the gray for just a couple of seconds first, get this thing lubricated up, and then follow it with your black tank. So that way nothing really wants to stick. It's lubricated, you've got soap in the gray tank. Get everything lubricated up, and then go to your black, then finish with your gray. Start with your gray, hit your black, finish with your gray.
All right, so Everett said be careful that we're in the splash zone, saying thank goodness this is a waterproof camera. But he's going into the black tank first, and he just made entry. And it looks like so far I've done a pretty good, oh well, I take it back. So this is cleaning all the sludge off the bottom?
It is. On the bottom and the sides of your tank where everything builds up.
All right, so I don't know if you're able to hear Everett, but he says that the initial cleaning is the sides and the bottom and the corners where you have your initial buildup. Cindy's totally amazed by the poop. That's why I married her. She's easy to impress.
Who would have thought?
So that's probably why my sensor won't clean off.
Yeah, so what we're breaking up here is all of the what we call the peanut butter sludge down at the bottom of the tank. And you know, this is what happens when you use additives a lot. Additives have an enzyme in them. Enzymes break things down, they settle to the bottom of your tank, and they create that peanut butter sludge that, you know, over time builds up to a point where even your on the rig flushers can't really break up, clean up, or get out of there. So this settles to the bottom of your tank, and that's why we're around. We come in with the 1500 psi on the hydrojetter. We break all of this up. We were able to do a full 360-degree spray pattern on the inside of your tank, get it all cleaned up, bring everything out, and restore that tank to a factory new.
So y'all recommend to do this how often?
So we say that it's probably a good idea to get your tanks cleaned every 1 to 3 years. Especially if you're a full-timer, I would consider putting that in the 1 to 2 range, just because of how much stuff you're going through in your tanks. We do recommend that you stop using your additive and then you switch over to just using a pine sol and Calgon solution, and we can talk about more of that later on.
So 5 years is not recommended?
Well, I mean, if you want to stretch it that far, you're doing a pretty good job as far as, you know, having been in this for 5 years, but you really want to make sure that you are always, you know, rinsing your tanks. And you said that you rinse your tanks all the time, and you're to the point where people laugh because, you know, you rinse them so much.
I rinse a minimum of 5 times on every flush. I make sure I've got clean water coming out, evidently not clean enough.
So I don't know, there's a lot that you can do, you know, and doing the maintenance on it and rinsing it all the time, that's a great thing to do, but you can see even with excessive amounts of rinsing and getting things done correctly, there's still stuff left behind.
So we've been going at it for about 10 minutes out here, and there's still, pardon my French, crap coming down the pipe there. It's actually kind of gross. I thought I was doing a really good job on cleaning this system out. It's absolutely crazy that I'm still seeing, after about 9 minutes, and this is just a black tank, and I wouldn't think we would need to do the gray tank, but Everett says that you'll be surprised how much stuff's in your gray tank. Look at that, it's still coming. Crazy.
Alright, so now we're up in your gray tank.
Alright, so we're in the gray tank, and Everett says, holy crap. Everett says the gray tanks are worse than the black tanks lots of times.
So it's you've got mold, you've got soaps, everything builds up a lot more inside your gray tanks. One of the biggest things that you'll find at the gray tank is that, well, you don't have a rinser in your gray tanks. Some of the coaches are nice enough to give us one, but we oftentimes don't think about how much stuff is actually in your gray tank for there to be rinsed out. So you've got your soaps, you've got your food particles, and all of that creates a perfect environment for mold to grow. And so you'll see a bunch of little black chunks come flying out, and those are usually indicative of mold balls and things like that. But this is all the stuff that comes off of us when we take a shower, when we wash our hands, when we prep our food. It all sits in the bottom of these tanks. This is why one of the reasons to get you get smells up into your RVs is that it's not always your black tank. It's not where you really think it's coming from. A lot of the time, the smell's coming from your gray tank.
Oh, look, do you see those big black chunks just drive by?
And that's out of the gray tank.
That's out of the gray tank.
Oh.
Huge particles coming out. Holy crap. I feel like my dad when he would wash the dog and he would tell me, come look at how dirty this dog was in the black water.
And I bet a lot of that's mold.
Well, and some of it probably comes from the lint that comes through the washing machine too.
That we do. Oh my gosh, it stinks. I think it stinks worse.
Yeah,
than
this
the
smells a lot worse than the black tank ever smelled. And think, some parks that don't have hookups will allow you to dump your gray on the ground. We were in a national park in Virginia that did that, and we stopped doing it after one time because it smelled so, oh my gosh.
It was a national forest.
A national forest.
Not a park. Oh my God. That is much worse.
Now, does that have anything to do with us not putting any additives? And I know you said that dishwasher soap like Dawn actually causes the tank to become sticky.
So it's not necessarily that it becomes a lot more sticky, it's that it's not slick, it's not smooth because Dawn is a degreaser. Now Dawn does a great job of getting rid of grease, but it also will dry plastics out to the point where, you know, things are going to stop on them a lot more, and then when they stop and they settle, more things can accumulate on them. Yeah, Dawn dish soap, use it for your dishes. Don't plan on washing your tank with it. It's not the best and healthiest thing for your tank.
Gosh, there's bigger chunks coming out of this than came out of the black tank. All right, Cindy, what do you think? Is this worth having done?
I think everybody needs to have this done at least once a year. This is, oh my gosh.
And the smells are horrific of what's been sitting in our tanks.
And that's the gray tank that you don't have a flush for.
All right, we've been flushing the gray tank for about 5 minutes now, and it has still got chunks coming. I am absolutely amazed. All right. I can't believe it's still coming like this. So now we're into the rinse process, and Everett's looking up some details on my rig so he doesn't overfill my tanks and that sort of stuff. And what's the website?
RVUSA.com.
RVUSA.com. I'll try to remember to put that in the show notes in the about section, but you can look up your rig by name, age, or year, and model number. All right, so we're doing the rinse first. We're rinsing the gray. He's got an extra valve set up. He's got, what is this?
So this whole setup is the Volterra Flush King. What you use these for is to flush out your tanks, because your grays, more often than not, do not have a flush on them. And this is a great way to flush your tanks in between cleanings and maintain your tanks, so you keep all of that stuff that's in there and you can get it rinsed out. Now the way this works is that you're taking full force water, because this opening is the actual size of your hose, so you're getting the full force of the water going in there. It isn't reduced or constrained in any way, and you're sending that water up into your tank. Basically what that's doing is it's acting like a tsunami, going in there, ripping everything up that is in there, you know, picking it all up off the bottom, keeping it in suspension. As soon as we get the amount of water that we want in here, we know his tanks are 50-gallon tanks, and that we're going to want to put in about 75% of that. So we're going to put in 40 gallons to 45 gallons to get real close to full, but not overflow and give us some air room. The way that we know how much we're doing is we use a Save-A-Drop water meter. It counts how many gallons that are going into the tank. They're pretty accurate. They're, I would say, within 0.1 or 2 of a gallon accurate. So we count how much water is going in there. We fill it up, we get that tsunami effect, and then as soon as we get everything in there, we pull that valve, shut off the water, and we use that suction that it creates to pull everything that's in suspension out of the tank and get your tanks nice and clean. In between cleanings, this is a great way to maintain gray tanks, black tanks. If you don't have rinsers, in combination with rinsers, it never hurts to rinse your tanks more and more and more. It really helps.
And so I'll try to find all these items. I'll write them down as I review the video, and I will list them in the description area of this video using my Amazon affiliate link. As you know, we are Amazon affiliates, and we appreciate your help with us getting a little bit of gas for down the road, and it doesn't cost you anything else. So we're at 15 gallons. I'll bring you back when we're full, unless Everett's got any more great information to share.
I think the best thing to check is when we're full, and you can see this process when we pull that lever and see what comes out. We're hoping that there's not much left in that tank, but it's always good to give you an estimate of what you're looking at.
All right, so we're at 45 gallons. Everett's gonna pull the valve gate and let her rip, and let's see how well the tank cleaned or if it's gonna need rinsed again. It's looking nice and oh, I just saw one chunk go by.
So what we'll be watching for is the end of this, is, you know, where everything is toward the top layer, and we'll see how much stuff this comes out, if the water changes to a different color, or we stay clear and we did a really good job cleaning. We'll see in just a few seconds.
I wish it said how many gallons were left with your Save-A-Drop. If as it was coming out, it would subtract it.
Yeah. We're gonna get a pretty good suction right there.
Oh, I just saw some black in there. So probably don't need to flush this one again, huh?
No, this one came out really good, nice and clean. So we got a really good scrub on there, and I don't see anything, and it didn't change too many different colors. So that gray tank's good to go. We're gonna put 40 gallons into the black and rinse that one, and we'll see how much comes out of that one.
All right.
This one closed. All right, we're gonna kick this on.
All right, we're gonna do the black tank this time, right?
Yeah, we're working on the black tank now. If you want to count how many gallons you put in total, this bottom number on the Save-A-Drop water meter will tell you your total, and then you can press this button to reset and just count your gallons that you're actively adding to your current tank.
Wow, that adds them quick, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna flush the gray. No, this is the black tank.
This is the black tank. So let's see what we got in the black tank. We got 40 gallons in there. This one's gonna rip really good.
I think I saw a little bit of stuff go by when you first opened it.
This is where we'll see anything, if we're gonna see anything at all. I'm thinking we've done a pretty good job of getting that one cleaned out. Just little tiny stuff.
A little bit.
And that ran pretty clear.
Awesome.
That was quite amazing how much stuff came out of the tanks. So Everett's gonna put his stuff up, and then we're gonna go do the hot water heater, and he's gonna talk about, instead of using those commercial additives in your tank, what we should do to treat our tanks instead. And you need to treat both your black tank and your gray tank with common household items that he'll tell you about. So I asked Everett an important question. I said, so do you use the same hose that you did on the tanks for the hot water tank? And he said no, and his hoses are even a different color. So he's setting up with the freshwater hoses and stuff, and then we'll get into the hot water heater. All right, so Everett's about to start cleaning the hot water heater, and I'm gonna get him to tell us why it's important to get the hot water heater cleaned.
So we're going to want to service your water heater for a couple of reasons. One, there's going to be calcium, maybe some rust, you know, inside your water heater tank. And it's going to be something that you want to get out of there. I've worked on some where it was so packed full of calcium that they were missing a gallon of water, you know, and that their element wasn't able to heat correctly. The other thing is we want that environment to be really cleaned out. Nothing interfering with your burners, your elements, and just have a clean operating tank. The other thing we want to do is to check the condition of your tank. If we're getting a lot of rust out of there, it means something's getting eaten up on the inside. We also want to be able to check to see if you have an anode. Some tanks, like Dometics and Atwoods, don't have anodes in them. They do make an anode to put in there, replaces the plug, and I think that's something we're going to be doing on this today.
Yeah, because our tank does not have an...
Yeah, it does not have an anode on it. Having an anode in there is a critical thing to have. That hard water is looking for something to eat. Yes, the tank itself may be, you know, glass lined, porcelain lined. Might be something that they state is it's bulletproof. It's going to be just fine. That may be true, but your electric heating elements and your burner tubes, all of those are still made out of aluminum, something for it to eat. That is direct contact. You don't want it eating through your elements, causing you bills to come through later down the road. Clean them out, replace your anodes, check your anodes, and make sure everything's good to go. All right, so we're gonna let the pressure off there, and we're gonna work on this. I like having a piece of PVC here so we can shoot the water where we want it to, and actually see what's coming out. I'm gonna be splash some.
So we're just emptying the water out that's in there. We'll come back when we start cleaning it.
Let's see if there's anything immediate in this right here. Get these threads, get them cleaned off, get up in there and see if we can get around those elements. Looking pretty good so far.
Now this is something I do clean yearly myself, so we'll see if I did a good job. It's been about 6 months. So we're going to stick the wand up in there.
We're going to go in from the bottom side. I like that.
Yeah, that pipe there is...
Some of them are designed really nice. Some of them are a pain in the butt. Oh, there we go.
Is that rust or calcium?
That looks like rust.
That's not good.
We'll check it out. There's you know, a good bit of calcium on this too. So we'll get it rinsed out. We'll find out what it is. If you see these little white specks on my hand here, these are going to be little deposits of calcium.
There's one on the tube right there.
Yeah. So we'll see what we get out of there. If you look at the water coming into the bucket, you can see that that's pretty dirty water. So we'll just spend some time rinsing this thing out and see what we can get out of it.
Yeah, that's the water we bathe in.
We're stirring it up off the bottom. So, you know, it happens. But this is the reason that you always want to maintain your tanks such as your water heater. You know, take this wand. It's another thing you can find on Amazon. He'll post it in, share it in a link below. But something you can buy, something that's a good idea. Pull the plug, drain your water heater, and rinse it out. Keep your tanks healthy. That's the biggest thing that we're all about, is keeping everything running the way it should. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I just took a bath, y'all. Right here, I finally got the one for the year.
Yeah, sometimes that tank fills up and then I push it right out.
So if you look around the tank, you can see the calcium deposits on the ground. There inside the bucket, look at all the calcium that he got out of the tank. And I just cleaned this 6 months ago myself. Now I doubt I did it as well as a professional, but I did it pretty good for an amateur.
Looks like you got gold in there too.
Somehow or another I had some sand. Look at all that calcium on his hand. Sand came in from the campground water somewhere between here and Yellowstone. I'm thinking it was when we stayed on the ranch up in West Yellowstone over the summer. But wow. All right, this is bucket number 2, and you can see the calcium floating in there. They're smaller particles, but you can still see down in there. A little more sand and more calcium.
Yeah. Some sand down here. Yeah. But we're getting it cleaned out. It's pretty good.
All right, this is the 3rd and hopefully final rinse. I don't know, it's still got a good bit out.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll give it one more rinse and we should be good to go. All right, so some tips and tricks. Like again, this is a piece of equipment you can buy off of Amazon. It just goes on a regular garden hose. When you're using this, you can build up a lot of pressure on the inside. As you saw, it kicked us out of the tank and we all got to take our showers for the month. What you want to do is when you're cleaning here, you want to keep your finger on this gray bit of hose right here, because they do crack, and I have a crack in mine. And you want to make sure that you do not send that little gray piece flying up in there. So keep a good finger on the top, the tip of it when you're cleaning. That way, you know, it's not going to fly off, go shooting on the inside. You can also just take a hose band and wrap and tighten it around on this and keep it on there and secure. But that's some tips and tricks about using the wand for your water heater.
All right, so there's just a few little particles in there, and well, I don't know.
Yeah, we might give it another rinse.
One more rinse. Evidently, I did a very lousy job when I did it myself.
All right, so a couple of things about anodes. This is an anode for an Atwood or a Dometic. We do recommend Camco because they do have a much better build quality and they use good materials. What you need to look for when you're going through to check your anodes, and these are all from a Suburban water heater, but it'll act about the same on an Atwood or a Dometic. This is one where you want to go ahead and start taking a look at ordering one and getting one for the next month, getting ready to put one in. This is a good level of chewing on it. It's eating away at it.
And how old would you say that one was?
This one was about 6 months.
Okay.
So, and then there's this one. This one's probably about a year. We're getting a little past the usable life for sure. Once you start exposing the actual metal itself on here, it's definitely time to get one in there. And this is about 3 years past done. It actually started eating the rod on the inside. So make sure you replace it before you get to this or this. Start getting one on order when it's about here. And so we're going to put a new Camco anode into this Atwood or Dometic water heater.
So I'll link one down below, but make sure you get the right size. Mine takes a 4.5 inch.
Yep, and the Suburbans take a 9 inch.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to put this in here.
So you want to put the Teflon tape on it?
Yep. Get that in there. Now I do too many of these, so I just made that look really simple. Yes, you will fight trying to get it in there, but I do, you know, close to 7 of these a day. So getting it threaded in there, make sure you get it threaded correctly and not cross threaded.
And what size bolt is that? So when you get your handy dandy socket set to tighten it, 7/8 that says.
It's going to be a 7/8 to get that threaded on there, and your plastic washer on here is going to be a 5/16.
All right, let's tighten her down. Got to get it going in the right direction. All right, y'all don't need to see him tighten it all the way down. I'll make sure it's tight for you. So he just said to make sure and leave the vent cap open when you turn the water back on. Of course, we turned the water off when we drained the hot water heater. And then once it fills up and you've gotten all the air out of the system, then you close that down. All right, so it filled up.
We're going to press on that to make sure that it's got a good seat. If it's still dripping, you know, give it a bump and then do it again. Let it drain out. Then we're going to check over here, make sure we don't have any water coming out there. If both of those are done dripping, then we're good to go and your water heater has been serviced. Again, that's another one of those services that Kleen Tank provides free of charge with the cleaning. So now about the additives. I know we talked a little bit about how your traditional tank additives have an enzyme in them and break them down. We don't want things breaking down in your holding tanks because they're holding tanks, not septic systems. So Kleen Tank does recommend a pine sol and Calgon solution. You can use any kind of pine sol that you like in combination with the Bath Pearls. We recommend the Bath Pearls over the Bath Beads. The Bath Beads are highly reactive in the sense that they foam up pretty good, and we want to make sure that we're using the Bath Pearls. They don't have a reaction, and they're a much better water softener to add to your tank. So you have pine sol in there for your deodorizer, and you have your Bath Pearls in there for your water softener. The whole point of it is keep your tank slick so things stay together, they slide out, and don't get bound up inside your tanks. They don't break down, and they leave your tank, go in the ground where they're supposed to be to break down.
And you said the recipe is on the back of your card, so I can copy it and list it in the description of this video.
Yeah, pretty much every piece of literature that Kleen Tank has will have our recipe on it. This is a bottle that you get with your cleaning today, and it does have how to make a 32-ounce version of it right here. That's this bottle. For tanks over 20 gallons, we recommend that you put a cup of this solution in per time when you start a new tank. That's 1 cup of solution, 3 to 5 gallons of water, and then when you dump, start over again, do your rinse, and then start over again with another cup, another 3 gallons of water.
Now, do you put this in both the black and gray tank?
You will want to use this in the black and the gray tank. Again, you know, coat those tanks, make them slick, make it so everything slides out. This will help a lot with buildups and keep you a lot cleaner in between cleanings. We'll also link how to make a gallon of this, and you can find all of this information on Kleen Tank. This is not something we charge for. This is something we want you to have, information that we put out there. Kleen Tank is really about the education of how to take care of your rigs, and we want to put that first in everybody's minds.
So that's Kleen, K-L-E-E-N, tank, T-A-N-K.com?
That is correct.
Okay.
And there's a link in there to be able to find a dealer near you. I am not the only dealer. By all means, we have a huge network of Kleen Tankers across the United States, and we are probably, you know, able to come and find you and get you serviced somewhere in a town near you. So let us know. Check us out on KleenTank.com, and appreciate appreciate you having me out here today.
Well, thank you very much for cleaning my tanks out and for educating our viewers on proper maintenance techniques. Till next time, everybody, stay safe and happy camping.